Okay, good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming on time, and really good to see a small, intimate crowd here. Nonetheless, let me introduce myself first. So my name is Andy, and I'm from Catholic Family Life. So if you're not already familiar with Catholic Family Life, we are basically a Catholic charity that seeks to form, empower, and restore family. So through education, formation, and counseling program. So Catholic Family Life, as an organization, we provide a whole suite of service, which includes marital family and adolescence therapy, pregnancy crisis support, education programs and talk. And I belong to the para-counseling arm of this organization. So a little bit more on myself. I'm a para-counselor with a community of para-counseling. So these are my credentials. I think more importantly is to let you know that we have received proper training. But as you go on to the talk, you'll find that it is not what I know that is more important. And as with my clients, do they care that what I know about all these things? Yes. But I think fundamentally as a counselor, they care more about whether you care about them before they care about what you know. So just keep that in mind for now. So just to engage the crowd a little bit, so I'll let you understand which parish are you from. So yeah, is anyone from Christ the King, Risen Christ? Or do you see your own parish on this map? You don't? Good, excellent. Well, there's a reason why not all the parishes are listed on this map, and I'll come back to that later, but perhaps you just give a shout out, which parish are you from? Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit? Queen of Peace. Queen of Peace here. Okay. Queen of Peace, great, excellent. Okay. I'll promise you I'll come back to this slide on why some churches, some parishes are not included in this slide. Okay, so I'll jump straight into the topic for today. So today we're talking about how are you doing? It's really a brief primer on what is counseling. So for that, I have used the acronym of OUT, observe, understand, take steps. Observe, how do you know your friends or family members need help? And what are some of the symptoms to watch out for? Understand, what is counseling and what can counseling do for them? Take steps. How do you offer support? How do you encourage them to seek professional help? And the last part, I'll do a little bit of marketing for CPC. What service do you provide? So now, why is this topic important? Let's take a poll. How many % of the general population reported experiencing depression or anxiety symptoms during the 1 year since the pandemic started? So let's take a guess. How many % do you reckon? Who thinks is 0 to 25%? Okay, 0 to 25%. Who thinks is 26% to 50%? Okay, a few hands there. 50 to 75%. Okay, 100%. Okay. But let's make it real. You know, for me, I experienced some sort of anxiety or depression or some sort of sadness during this period. You would think, as a counselor, you should know better, right? But counselor is human being also. So in this room, some of us may have experienced such symptoms before, but according to a survey done between last year May till this year June, around 13% experienced such depression or anxiety symptoms. Now, all this may be very narrowly defined, but I'm pretty sure some, if not all of us, have experienced some sort of loss, some sort of frustration during this period of time. I, for sure, have experienced them. Now, because of this situation, what we also see that it really highlights some of the issues that we are facing without the pandemic itself. So we have stuff like as it is ongoing for sexual abuse, teenagers finding it hard to talk to parents, increase in mental health issues like we spoke about. Yep. And why I think there is this awareness, increasing awareness of how and why people need to be able to talk to someone who can support them. Which is why now we are talking about this, and to raise awareness of why is this important as a nation, as a community, to talk about counseling, to talk about talking. Now, let's jump into the first part of this topic. How do you know if someone needs help? Now, generally, when someone goes through an unexpected event, a transition in life, or some sort of trauma, I think these are some of the signposts that, you know, hey, the guy may need some support. So for example, you lost someone you love, be it a family member, a friend, or a pet. Heartbreak. The world is temporarily closed. That's what I experienced during the pandemic period. Decision time. Should I take this job? Should I change my girlfriend? Should I change my boyfriend? Abuse of all sorts. Unemployment, which is a big thing during this pandemic. And transition, if you're moving around between jobs or house. Now you'll say, look, does it mean that people going through these events in life will go through depression and anxiety? The answer is no. Similarly, does it mean that people who are not going through all these events will not experience anything negative? The answer is no too. Now, all these are very obvious events, and as we are living in the world of O&H not right now, sometimes we may get a very negative comment on our Facebook, LinkedIn, and all these are very invisible to us, and yet they can adversely affect our mood. So what is the key? The key is to watch out for symptoms. Now, what are some of the symptoms to watch out for? So generally, we break it down into 3 categories: verbal, behavioral, and emotional. Verbal, content of the speech. Now, imagine one day your family member comes back and say, look, oh, very sian. Life is meaningless. I failed my exam. I don't know where to go next. I'm going to retake my O-level, A-level. I don't know what to do. There's no more meaning in life. Or they just go silent. How are you? I'm fine. I don't want to talk about it. Emotional, persistent change, fluctuation, or situation inappropriate mood. So let's say you go to a funeral and you see someone smiling and laughing. Now that's a very generic, inappropriate mood for that situation, or even a flat mood. No matter how you engage the person, no matter how interesting you appear to him, try to appear to him, he's not responding much at all. So this is what I call a flat mood. Behavioral, disruptions to activities of daily living. Now, I think this is something very real to myself and perhaps a lot of people. When you have like a big talk coming up tomorrow, like me, I had some problem sleeping yesterday. Or you have a big interview coming up, or you just lost a job, or you lost someone. I think there are situations like this that you cannot just cope at that point in time because it's so out of the norm. And you find yourself losing appetite, you find yourself losing sleep, and you find yourself, look, I need some time alone, which sometimes lead to self-isolation or withdrawal, okay? Anhedonia, I think that's a big word, but basically it means that you lose interest in what you used to be interested in. For example, you used to be interested in soccer, you hang out with friends, good food, suddenly you feel that you don't desire, you're not interested in those things anymore. Or you observe it in your friends, so this is one of the symptoms you watch out for. Now, harmful activities or behavior, I think this is the more obvious part. When you see someone suddenly drinking a lot more, smoking a lot more, or sleeping a lot more. Drop in performance, so I think this is perhaps more relevant in teenagers and kids, where you suddenly see their performance in school drop a lot. Or even at work, where your colleague or your staff suddenly come in late, look tired because he can't sleep well, and he's very quiet, silent. So you kind of wonder what's going on with him. Is there something happening at home or in his life that warrants some attention to? So these are the symptoms to watch out for. Now, of course, it may be so that the guy is naturally not interested in anything. The guy is naturally quiet. The guy is, he likes to crack jokes at funerals, for example. So really, I think the key is to watch out for differences between him now and his usual self. Now, what should we do now? Now that we have learned how to identify who might need help, what sort of support are available? Now, there are a whole suite of support available out there, and you as a person can offer support. And today, may I propose counseling as one of the support available for you to consider. Now, before I go into what is counseling, what comes to your mind when you hear that someone is going for counseling? Now, it'd be good if you can let me know, what comes to your mind when you know someone is going for counseling. Okay, so let's try this, on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being, counseling is very normal, people should go for it when there's a need to, and 10 being, 1 being, the guy xiao, is it? How come he's going for counseling? What's wrong with him? Maybe with your hands, just put down your stuff on your hand. Just show me between 1 to 10, 10 being counseling is very positive and good. 1 being counseling is something for the crazy. Just put up your hands and let me know what, between 1 to 10, how do you think of counseling? Maybe I'll count to 3, 1, 2, 3. 4, I see 4, I see, good, I see 8. 5, okay, I see 2. 6, yeah, I think the whole mixed bag of responses here, between 2 to 6 to 8. Now, if, let's say for me, I think that counseling are reserved for those who are psychotic or not so well, how would that translate into the people I'm offering counseling to? I will feel judged if you think that, hey, counseling is for those who are not so well. But if I'm 9 or 10, I say, hey, counseling is very normal. If you have a flu, you go to the doctor. If you feel a little bit hitty, you drink some liang teh, then that's fine. Just go for it. So we normalize it, we naturalize it. Now, what is counseling? I think to understand what counseling is, we first try to understand what it is not. Now, I love this part because as a counselor for the last 5 years, I've gone through so many, iterations of this, and people ask me all sorts of questions. Maybe let me sort of try to debunk what is not counseling. Counseling, we are not motivational speaker. Granted, you are going through a low point in your life, you want some hope and inspiration. We go through that with you, but we are not here to say, hey, man, life is good, like Anthony Robbins, if you believe you can awaken the giant above, giant within. That's not what we do, per se. Judge, very common. We have a couple coming in, okay, my husband is wrong. Please let him know he's wrong. A husband come in, my wife is, she wants me to do this and that. Can you just please tell her that she's wrong? Or a couple comes in and say, hey, we have this situation, what do you think? Who is right, who is wrong? Now, we're not here to do that, we're not judge. So we will let the couple find out what's going on as a couple and not as individual. Fortune teller, okay, I love this. So I'm seeing this guy and I think he's very nice. I'm considering to marry him or not. What do you think? What do you think our future will be like? If I marry him, I say, hey, if I know that, I probably won't be this line. And whatever decision you make is yours to make, it's your life to live. I can go through the scenarios with you, but I'm not here to tell your fortune. Advisor. Again, people come to me with situations and say, look, I'm considering this job. Should I take this job? Should I join the company? Yes, you can go through the various scenarios. You can go through the stuff you need to consider. But ultimately, it is your call to make. And I'll emphasize this again later. A friend. Now, counselor is not your friend. It sounds weird in a sense because we are friendly people, if you look at me. But it's not a friend in natural sense of the word because, yes, I have obligation of care towards you, but I don't expect the same from you back to me. So yes, we have a friendly relationship, but nonetheless, it is an imbalanced one of sorts because you are sharing with me all your secrets, all your situation, but you know very little about me. So it is not a friend in the natural sense of the word. Genie in the bottle, yes, I think I love this. I'm considering this. My boyfriend is like that. My son is not studying hard in school. Can I rub you and make you change him? Can you tell my husband and do something? Just do something. Whatever you can do to him, just make him change, so my life will be much better. Again, very sadly, I can't do that. I'm not a genie. I don't have a magic wand as much as I wish to. But very often people come to the counseling room and expect us to do all that thing. I'm sorry to disappoint you, the audience and those watching online, that we are not all this, but we can offer you something more actually. So what is counseling? Now, if you read this beautiful quote, and I'll read it out for you, a helping relationship that seeks to help people identify their own resources and is based on the principle of empowerment. Now, I love this quote because I think it really illustrates the whole process and journey of counseling, where the counselor, as a coach, as a person journeying with you, that really taps on your own strength and to really navigate the path ahead with you, together with you. Granted, we may not know where we are going, but at least we know that there is someone for you out there that has some tools on hand that can help you. And then really to figure out where you want to go next and where you are now, and then to journey with you through the process. And I love the second cartoon where it says, look, we kind of sort things out a little bit, and we go out, things get messy in the real world. But hey, you know what? Just come back and we sort things out again. So to me, this is what counseling is about. Now, what is counseling? So it is a collaboration. Again, we are peers. I'm not the expert. In fact, you are the expert because you are the expert of your life. You are the one living your life. You are the one who knows what you've been through, and you are the one who knows that what you can or can't do. And counselor is a skilled helper. Now, what do I mean? So I put a picture of a book and toolbox. So if you recall, I was showing you my profile just now. I have this master's, I have this certificate, so on and so forth. I think that's all really what we have, the knowledge and the tools available to us to really journey with you. But those are tools. Ultimately, you need the resources that is found within you as a person, because that is really what we can work with, and that is what you need to have in your life. So as we can see, this is really a relationship based on equality. Now, the counselor is not placed on a pedestal and, and say, look, you do this, you get this. Follow the path and you will find true happiness. No, that's not what we do, We really work with the client to find out what works for them. So really, this is the role of counselor. Now, of course, I think this is very important. As I mentioned, we are not your friend, and we are bounded by very strict rule of ethics. And we subscribe to the rule of confidentiality, meaning that whatever you share in the counseling room is kept private, unless there's harm to self or others. If you tell me, look, I plan to attack my boyfriend tonight because he cheated on me, that we'll have to respond accordingly to protect the person. Okay. Limitations. So there are certain limitations to counseling in case you want to refer someone for counseling. If there's a psychiatric disorder or lack of mental capacity, I think they will render that person incapable of receiving counseling for the short term. But we can work together with someone who's going through psychiatric treatment and to really help with the symptoms of, let's say, depression. So benefits of counseling. So fundamentally, there are two broad categories of benefit. We have the emotional support, which is very apparent, and we have the psychological issues. So I touched on depression just now. So depression, I think, is really a psychiatric issue as much as a psychological one. Now, all my training is in CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. So this is one of the tools that we have to really engage people with such difficulties in life that they have. So with that, yes, they need the emotional support, but they need tools really to cope with the issues they're facing. For example, I give you one, what we call a black or white thinking. Okay, so imagine I'm here now, I'm standing in front of you, and you really cannot see the kind of anxiety I have. I'm sweating out the armpits, you can't see that. But what can I do now then? What are the thoughts that may be going on in my mind? Like, oh man, I sacrificed my morning, yet the crowd is small, so that's a negative thinking. But what if I can flip it around and say, look, okay, it's a small crowd, but introvert crowd, a very responding, a very hungry crowd. So then I'll give my best. So these are the tools. I mean, this is a very simple, generic example, but that's the gist of it. So is counseling legit? Yes. So there's a lot of research that have gone into to validate the efficacy of counseling. So yes, counseling has been shown to help and to work for people with various issues. So what should I do now? So perhaps before I jump into this, just take a few minutes to, if you have any questions. One. Yes, so I think the question is if a person is going through psychiatric issue, so yes, the person should go for psychiatric help first. So as I mentioned, like for example, depression, it's very much a psychiatric issue where there's imbalances in the chemical in the brain and also some of the electrical signal. So we need to address that part first, and psychiatrists is able to prescribe some of the medication to deal with that. Only then that person is more stable, I would say, to go through the rigor of this talk therapy, which is counseling. But that's a very good question. Thank you. Okay. Let's just continue then. So knowing that counseling can be help, how do we support them now? Okay, so this is again a very, very interesting section. So we see someone who's down, who's have a very flat mood, and or he's coming to you and say, look, I just lost my boyfriend, girlfriend, dog. Then you say, okay. Now the critical point is here. When someone comes to you with that, what do you say? Now may I propose first we talk about what not to say and why. Judgment, okay, judgmental mode. Everyone else is okay what? It's like, okay, I go to my friend, hey, bro, this pandemic, I cannot go out and makan with my friends, my family. They say, everyone like that what? Okay, so what? Everyone is okay, I'm not okay. I'm the only one who's not okay. So I feel very judged. So next one, motivational. Yeah, be strong, man. You can do it. I think there's a time and place for that. But if someone comes to you for help and say, look, I need some support, I just need you to be there for me, to listen to me, and you tell me stuff like, be strong, you can do it. So what do I think? Are you saying I'm not strong because I can't do it? Are you saying that everyone else is strong, which is why they're okay and I'm not okay? Generic, life is beautiful. Things will work out in the end. 船到桥头自然直. I think this is good in itself, but again, depending on the context. Demeaning, I think this is not so good. What's wrong with you? So what if you can't go out? So what if you fail exam? So what if you fail O-level? So what if you have to retake? Now, to us, it may seem very trivial, okay? But to that person involved, it means something to him. So we have to respect that and not make it feel worse for him and say, look, what's wrong with you? Expert mode, okay. I know exactly what you're going through. I have lost my job before, I have failed my exam before, I have lost my handphone before. I know exactly what you're going through. Do we really know what exactly someone is going through? We can understand, we can get a sense of it, but if you tell someone, I know exactly what you're going through, I think the very first response in the person's mind is, do you really know? Or you're saying that because you just want to brush me off? Advisable, okay, this is what you should do. So something as counselor we don't do, and I think something as a person, for someone engaging someone else, shouldn't really do, because why? Let's say, okay, back to my example, should I marry this guy? Yeah, okay, very nice, but I know exactly what you're going through. Last time I was deciding between him and another person, I married the person, it looks out well, turned out well. What if it doesn't? And you say, look, go for it. And that person trusts you as a friend, as an advisor, and she or he took your advice and things don't work out well for them, so now what? But you told me that I should marry him, but things didn't work out well. So we generally don't do that. Now with this example, I'm not sure about yourself, but several events in my life that my friends have tried to be helpful, but not really. So the question is, what have you heard when you were down, but totally not helpful at all? Is there anything you can relate to here? Let me just be strong, you can do it. Okay. Anything else? Or what are some of the things you can, you have heard that was totally not helpful, so I can update my slides for the next time? Anything? Okay. Okay, how does that make you feel? Yeah, exactly right. So if someone tells me, I know exactly how you feel, okay, yeah, I don't want to talk to you anymore. So let's be aware of this. What to do? What to say then? Okay, now, take them seriously, even if you don't think nor understand that it's serious. Okay, now I think the bigger events are losing a job, losing someone is critical enough. But it can be as easy as not being able to go out for a meal during this pandemic. And I quote something from my own life example. 21st June 2021. Does it mean anything to you? 21st June 2021. Now that was the first day I got my first vaccination shot. But that's also the first day that the government finally allowed people to dine out. And I went straight away to have my fishball noodle. That meant something to me, to be able to dine out and have my favorite bowl of fishball noodle. Now, If I tell the story now, you may joke about it, but to me, that's something very important because it's been a few months of working at home. I just need to get out, and to me, that's something personally significant. So yeah, please, I know you laugh about it, but take me seriously. Now, be present. Just be there and listen if they want to talk. I think being present really is what we, as a person, the most valuable gift we can give to someone. Things happen so that day and age now, the handphone is always there with us. Even during a meal, be with families or friends, you just look at your handphone more sometimes. Just be there. I think your presence sometimes will give this comforting sense to the person you're trying to reach out to. Tend to their needs, their normal functioning might be affected. I think we see this when someone is going through a huge transition in life, or grieving, or having lost someone. So, for example, a single mom may be struggling to take care of her kids, so much so that she's not eating well, she's not sleeping well, she's just running all over the place. I think simply being there to help her to tend to her needs and say, hey, can I buy you lunch? Can I take care of your kids for you? I think that's very important for them. Self-care. Establish boundary and seek support for yourself. I think as much as we want to help other people, it is important we take care of ourselves so we can take care of others well. Now, let me jump to this. So how to offer support? There are a lot of resources out there. So for example, I give you this health hubs, just checking website. So there are many, many resources there that you can go in and learn more about what we spoke about, how to really engage people you're trying to reach out to and how to really support them. And with this, I have so for example, they will give you like a mini quiz. So Mr. C has been looking unusually stressed of late. What should Mr. P ask him to open up? So if I take a poll now, like if it's who thinks A, hi Mr. C, how have you been feeling? Anyone vote? Or B, hi Mr. C, are you feeling okay? Now if it's A, who will go for A to respond to Mr. C? Okay, A, okay, good. B? Okay, B, good. Now, which one is better? I think very broadly we categorize this as an open or closed-ended question. Okay, so for A, hi Mr. C, how have you been doing? So I think it opens up more possibility to the kind of response they get. But B, are you feeling okay? Then I think typically, okay lo, So the conversation stops there. Okay, so I'm going to show you a very quick video on how we can actually check in on someone. Let's hope it works. Okay.
Checking in on someone but not sure how to? What should I say? What if I make things worse? What if I say something wrong? Don't worry, we've got you. Let's learn how to be a better supporter for those we care for. I hope D is okay. Try to check in with someone if you notice a change in their mood, behavior, or circumstances. Let me catch up with him to see how he's doing. Whoa, my day is packed. Before the check-in, make sure you have enough time and are in the right headspace. Maybe tomorrow is a better idea. Hi, Dee. Is everything okay with you?
Yes.
Yes. Yep. I hope I hope you have enjoyed the video as much as I have. So yeah, I think it really recaps what we have spoken about in a very cute and animated way. So, but I think ultimately the message is encourage them to seek professional help. If you think that you, after having tried your best, they still need some sort of help. Now, how do you encourage them to seek help? I think we spoke about our personal views towards counseling. If we think that counseling are reserved for those who are going through very serious issue, versus think that counseling is something that something someone can go and tap out as resources, I think that will affect kind of receptivity of those people we are telling to go for counseling. Understanding. So today, I think we really appreciate that you have taken the time off to really understand what is counseling, so that you can encourage others effectively. Now, how to encourage someone to go for counseling? Now, I think as a nation, we are really trying to increase the awareness of mental health, especially with counseling as a resource. Okay, and assuming after you watch the video today and you've been here and say, look, I've just been through this very interesting talk, and it talks about some of the benefits of counseling. And I know of people who have gone for counseling and really benefited from them. And I know that you are going through a tough period of time now. I know you're trying your best. I'm here to support you. But why don't you consider, or do you want to consider to seek more help? So these are one of the ways you can potentially engage someone to encourage them to go for counseling. But of course, you will know the person best, and you know the way how to. Any question? Yeah, I think that's a very good question. So the question is, how do you draw the line between encouraging someone to go for counseling or to advise them to go for counseling? So that's your question, right? So I think that's a very delicate balance. Now, you don't want to be seen to say, look, you need to go for counseling. As what I've heard from many of my clients who've been sent to me for counseling, wife, husband, kids, you fail the exam, please go to talk to this counselor. You've been caught stealing in school, go to this counselor. Now, they are what we call the resistant clients, and it's very tough to work with them. But that's usually why we say encourage someone. Yes, you can go and say, look, it might be helpful for you. Why don't you consider going for that? So ultimately, we have spoken about the power of choice by the client. So counseling is something that that person have to choose to want to go, and not something that we force them to go. So it's not easy, I would say. So us as a person who cares for him or her is to really share with them resources and to be there for them now, and to really encourage them to go for counseling. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, I think I have 5 more minutes. So now it's the marketing time. Where can you refer someone to go for counseling? Now, the organization I'm from, Community of Paracounselors, we started in 2006, and we provide pro bono counseling service to anyone in need. So as I mentioned, I was flashing this map on the screen just now and asked if you're from that parish. So right now we are offering, in collaboration with all these parishes and some of the community center, to provide this counseling service in Singapore. And CPC has over 40 paracounselors serving in various locations in the different parishes. And if your parish is not in this map, do reach out to me or my colleague Maria behind. We'd love to collaborate with you and to see what we can do to serve you, for this counseling service. Now, timing. So we provide pro bono, again, which is free, from Monday to Saturday across various time slots. And because of the COVID situation now, we have transited from a face-to-face to a Zoom-based counseling right now. So we have a very good online booking system. It's on the bottom left, cpc.familylife.sg. And if you want, you can take a picture of the QR code that will allow you to send to people to book this counseling service. So yeah, as I was alluding to just now when I introduced myself, I was sharing with you my credentials, my certificates. Again, all these are important, But I really like to highlight to you that our counselors are trained, professionally trained, and we go through regular supervision once a month at least. And as and when we have every quarterly workshop to really increase and enhance their skills. So I started the talk with the topics of acronym of OUT, observe, understand, take steps. And now you have gone through the talk. It's really for you to be equipped to reach out to people who you think may need help. Okay? And to end this, I would like to end with a question and answer. I think we have 1 more minute. Okay? But let's do this. I'll be around later. I think if you have more questions, you can reach out to me. And I also see that a lot of us are taking notes. I love it because I think it really shows how interested you are. And I didn't really share this to the end because you can actually download the handout for this talk with this, with this QR code. So there's a URL, but if you take a picture of this and you scan this QR code later on, you can have all the details and the information of what I talk about. Okay. So with this, I will end my talk, and thank you for being a very good audience, and thank you very much.